What's up, everybody? My name is Shavalo, and welcome to Dagon. Now, this is a game based off of Dagon by H.P. Lovecraft, and that's all I know about it. I don't know anything else about the game, about H.P. Lovecraft, or the book, or anything. I'm going into this completely blind. There's really only one reason I decided to play this game is I'm part of a D&D campaign with one of my friends, and Dagon is the name of a demon lord in that game, and we're basically stuck with him, I've been cursed by Dagon, basically, and we're trying to get rid of the curse, and we have to meet Dagon. I was scrolling through some Steam games, and I saw this, and I was like, I have to play this. It seems like it's going to be really good. And there's DLCs to this as well. Like, there's the Railway Horror, there's the Eldritch Box, and there's Little Glass Bottle. There's all these DLCs, which I think is going to be really, really interesting to play. So let's just dive right into this. Real quick, yeah, I am recording. I had to make sure I was recording. Okay. Dagon is a faithful, interactive adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's work focused on story and atmosphere. Oh, it was going to explain it for me. Thank you. You will not find difficult choices. Let me actually adjust my mic a little bit, because I don't really... Is it? Yeah, that's good. You will not find difficult choices, action sequences, or inventory management here. The movement is limited to progressing through locations along with the plot.
I am writing this under an appreciable mental strain, since by tonight I shall be no more.
Oh, no. During the game, you will encounter interactive elements. Some of them will allow you to continue your journey, others will reveal interesting facts about the original short story. So this is basically going to give us interesting facts and a little bit of lore from the short story that H.P. Lovecraft made. Its historical background and the art there. Yeah, basically. Some of the trivia is hidden. In order to find these secrets, you focus your eyes and look for the Elder sign. Wait, what was the Elder sign? That. Lovecraft's letters. As to letters, my case is peculiar. I write such things exactly as easily and as rapidly as I would utter the same topics in conversations. Indeed, a epistolary expression is with me largely replacing conversation, as my condition of nervous prostration becomes more and more acute. These are some big words. I'm feeling a bit out of my league here. I cannot bear to talk much now, and becoming as silent as the spectator himself. The loquacity extends itself on paper. H.P. Lovecraft to Reinhard Kleiner, December 23rd, 1917. Throughout his life, Lovecraft penned around 100,000 letters to his friends and fans, out of which about 10% survive to this day. But his tendency to endless correspondence was a relatively late growth. In youth, Interesting. Whew. In youth, I scarcely did any letter writing. Thankfully, oh, this is probably when he was older. I was about to say, you did 100,000 letters. This is probably when he was older. Thanking anybody for his present was so much of an ordeal that I would rather have written a 250-line pastoral or a 20-page treatise on the rings of Saturn. 20 pages. Sir, I wish I had your ambition when it comes to writing papers. I wish. Like, I struggle with 5 pages. Selected letters, 1929, 1931. Lovecraft would often skip meals to afford postage. Collections of his correspondence have been published in various books, and selected letters can be found online. Some readers consider them to be his most important legacy. You can read the discovered trivia immediately or go back to them later in the main menu. Turning off display trivia if you find that feature distracts you from the story. This can be changed anytime in the options. Show trivia upon... Yeah. That's what we want. For anything else? Well,
Penniless, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable, I can bear the torture no longer, and shall cast myself from this garret window into the squalid street below.
Literally? Oh.
Do not think from my slavery to morphine that I am a weakling or a degenerate. When you have read these hastily scrawled pages, you may guess, though never fully realize, why it is that I must have forgetfulness or death.
What is that? Morphine. Oh, morphine entered its use in the 19th century and was routinely administered to treat severe pain during the American Civil War, 1861, 1865, and World War I, 1914, 1918. It was also sold without restrictions until 1914. Morphine became more popular after the invention of the hypodermic syringe around 1854. Friedrich Schirner, who first isolated the substance, originally named it morphium, after Morpheus, the Greek god associated with dreams. At the time when Dagon was published, morphine abuse, known as soldier's disease, was already posed a big problem in the United States. Interesting. Very interesting.
It was in one of the most open and least frequented parts of the broad Pacific that the packet of which I was supercargo fell a victim to the German sea raider.
There's secrets on every single... Oh, hello. Hello, puppet. Lovecraft and the Great War. Dagon was written about around a month after the United States ended World War I. Lovecraft was actively interested in its course. He composed many poems in which he gave encouragement to soldiers and commented on the events unfolding in Europe. He tried to enlist an army, which he mentions in one of the letters to Reinhard Kleiner. Some time ago, impressed by my entire uselessness in the world, I resolved to attempt enlistment despite my almost invalid condition. I argued that if I chose a regiment soon to depart for France, my sheer nervous force, which is not inconsiderable, might sustain me till a bullet or piece of shrapnel could more conclusively and effectively dispose of me. Letters to Reinhard Kleiner, H.P. Lovecraft. But even though I must stop reading that part. But even though he passed the physical exam, his mother prevented him from going to war. She has threatened to go to any lengths, legal or otherwise, if I do not reveal all the ills which unfit me for the army. I am Providence, the life and times of H.P. Lovecraft, S.T. Joshi. Interesting. His mother just... I understand that. Or anything else? Floor... Nope. Alright. To the boat we go! Gunshots.
The Great War was then at its very beginning, and the ocean forces of the Hun had not completely sunk to their later degradation. So that our vessel was made a legitimate prize, whilst we of her crew were treated with all the fairness and consideration due us as naval prisoners.
Huh. There's that. Oh, the flag. The Huns. The Huns were Central Asian nomads who established a dominion in Europe and invaded Roman Empire in the 5th century AD. They were known as brutal, deadly warriors and masters of quick raids who also developed powerful composite bows, lassos, and early siege weapons. During World War I, the British used the word Hun as a synonym for Germans in order to emphasize their brutality. However, the term originated when the German Emperor Wilhelm II gave a speech to his troops on July 27th, 1900, before they embarked to China. Should you encounter the enemy, he will be defeated. No quarter will be given. Prisoners will not be taken. Whoever falls into your hands is forfeited, just as 1,000 years ago, the Huns under the King Attila made a name for themselves, one that even today makes them seem mighty in history and legend. May the name German be affirmed by you in such a way in China that no Chinese will ever again dare to look cross-eyed at a German. The The refusal to take prisoners was a clear breach of the laws and customs of war adopted during the First Hague Convention of 1899. Very interesting.
So liberal, indeed, was the discipline of our captors, that 5 days after we were taken, I managed to escape alone, in a small boat, with water and provisions for a good length of time.
Thought he was going to talk again. I'll hold off on the water bottle. Interesting. Is it on the boat? God, my monitor is so dirty. I need to clean that. Guess there's not one there.
When I finally found myself adrift and free, I had but little idea of my surroundings. Never a competent navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator. Of the longitude, I knew nothing, and no island or coastline was in sight.
There's the moon. Maybe it's in the sky this time. Kind of cool putting it in the sky. Nothing. I swear, if it's just in plain sight and I find it in editing, I'm gonna be so upset. Look at the stars. It's a pretty sky. It's a pretty sky.
The weather kept fair, and for uncounted days I drifted aimlessly beneath the scorching sun, waiting either for some passing ship or to be cast on the shores of some habitable land.
God damn! Flashbang! Ah! Return to Short Stories. Dagon was written in July 1917 and published... See, the game... It was going to explain this for me. I didn't even have to say anything. Dagon was written in July 1917 and first published in 1919 in The Vagrant, an amateur magazine focused on the supernatural. The story is the first of his stories that introduced an element from the Cthulhu mythos, Dagon itself. A pagan cult worshipping Dagon later appears in The Shadow over Innsmouth, one of Lovecraft's most popular works. 1917 is also the year he wrote The Tomb, a story about Jervis Dudley, a daydreamer who discovers a mysterious mausoleum in the woods by his house and becomes obsessed with it. These two works mark Lovecraft's return to short story writing after he burned most of his attempts at the genre 9 years prior and decided to concentrate on poetry. Lovecraft stated that it was his friend William Paul Cook, a literary publisher and critic, who convinced him to start writing weird fiction again. Oh, weird fiction, huh? God, look at the shadows. Man. This game looks really good, I will say that. It looks really good.
But neither ship nor land appeared, and I began to despair in my solitude upon the heaving vastness of unbroken blue. The change happened whilst I slept. Its details I shall never know, for my slumber, though troubled and dream-infested, was continuous.
Oh my lord. Hi? Oh my god. Oh. Hey, buddy, you okay, buddy? Y'all all right? Y'all seem to be stuck in I don't know, some kind of murky water. Are you dead?
Oh! Oh my god!
Looking at me funny. Oh my god. Oh. What am I looking at? These just a bunch of giant squids? No, that can't be a squid. That has claws? What kind of...
When at last I awoke, it was to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse of hellish black mire, which extended about me in monotonous undulations as far as I could see, and in which my boat lay grounded some distance away. Though one might well imagine that my first sensation would be of wonder at so prodigious and unexpected a transformation of scenery, I was in reality more horrified than astonished. For there was in the air and in the rotting soil a sinister quality which chilled me to the very core.
I'd imagine.
The region was putrid with the carcasses of decaying fish and of other less describable things which I saw protruding from the nasty mud of the unending plain.
Okay, so we got an Ammonite, an Amistar. Starfish, that is a giant, is that a starfish? That's a giant ass starfish over there. That's an octopus. Jesus. This is just, ugh. None of this is, oh, Lord.
Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute silence and barren immensity. There was nothing within hearing and nothing in sight save a vast reach of black slime. Yet the very completeness of the stillness and the homogeneity of the landscape oppressed me with a nauseating fear.
Oh my god. Oh, what are you?
The sun was blazing down from a sky which seemed to me almost black in its cloudless cruelty, as though reflecting the inky marsh beneath my feet.
The origins of Dagon. Dagon seemed to be inspired by Fishhead, a short novel by Irvin. Jesus, I don't know why it took me so long to say that. Irvin S. Cobb about unnatural affinities between a hybrid idiot and the strange fish of an isolated lake. Supernatural horror and literature. H.P. Lovecraft. And Lovecraft's dream about a strange island emerging from the ocean and crawling in the ooze that covered its surface. I dreamed that whole hideous crawl and can yet feel the ooze sucking me down. In defense of Dagon, H.P. Lovecraft. Lovecraft's interest in the topic stemmed from his aversion to fish and sea smells. In his own words, I have hated fish and feared the sea and everything connected with it since I was 2 years old. But I cannot recall what earlier experience gave me such a profound and lasting aversion to the sea and the seafood. Dweller in the Darkness, Lovecraft, 1927. Ugh. Oh. Ooh.
As I crawled into the stranded boat, I realized that only one theory could explain my position.
I should also mention, this is VR compatible. Like I have a VR headset, but I didn't want to, you know, my room is, I don't want to show my room. This is VR compatible. I might, after this, I'll probably watch this in VR. This is, ugh. Just imagining this in VR.
Through some unprecedented volcanic upheaval, a portion of the ocean floor must have been thrown to the surface, exposing regions for which innumerable millions of years had lain hidden under unfathomable watery depths. So great was the extent of the new land which had risen beneath me that I could not detect the faintest noise of the surging ocean, straining my ears as I might. Nor were there any seafowl to prey upon the dead things.
Oh, right over there. The mystery of volcanic islands. Volcanic eruptions sometimes result in the creation of islands. Most of them are transient and erode after some time, but provide some permanence. The floating pumice, porous rock created when superheated pressurized rock is ejected from a volcano, can move across long distances and transport barnacles and macroalgae that cling to it. In 2001, rafts of pumice created during the eruption of a volcano near Tonga, Polynesia, eventually reached Australia. So we're going to get... Interesting. We're going to get, like, random science facts as well as this. Interesting.
For several hours I sat thinking or brooding in the boat, which lay upon its side and afforded a slight shade as the sun moved across the heavens. As the day progressed, the ground lost some of its stickiness and seemed likely to dry sufficiently for traveling purposes in a short time. That night I slept but little, and the next day I made for myself a pack containing food and water, preparatory to an overland journey in search of the vanished sea and possible rescue.
Oh my god. Is there a secret? I think so. There's the pack. You alive? Oh, that's just a shadow. Okay. What the hell are you? No, nothing. Alright, we'll continue.
On the third morning, I found the soil dry enough to walk upon with ease. The odor of the fish was maddening, but I was too much concerned with graver things to mind so slight an evil, and set out boldly for an unknown goal.
Wow. Okay. Oh, jeez. Ugh.
All day I forged steadily westward, guided by a faraway hummock which rose higher than any other elevation on the rolling desert.
What is that, a graboid? What am I looking at? Oh no, the humpback whale. At least I think that's a humpback whale. Maybe it's a blue whale. No, I think it's humpback. Could be wrong. Who knows?
That night I encamped, and on the following day still travelled toward the hummock, though that object seemed scarcely nearer than when I had first espied it.
Interesting. Horrors of the Ocean, the creator of Cthulhu mythos and the fictional underwater city of Urlea, was convinced that life could not exist at the bottom of the ocean because the water pressure would make it uninhabitable. Today, we know that the darkest depths of the ocean are home to many peculiar organisms. The deepest dwelling fish we have discovered so far, the Mariana snailfish, which can live 8,000 meters, more than 26,000 feet below the ocean's surface, in never-ending darkness and hellishly crushing pressures, hundreds of times stronger than those found at sea level. Jeez. A Upon glancing at modern photos of deep-sea creatures such as the anglerfish and the fangtooth and the viperfish and their truly Lovecraftian characteristics, it's not hard to find some irony in this. Oh my god, it's disgusting. Oh, I just had some major deja vu. Oh my god.
By the fourth evening, I attained the base of the mound, which turned out to be much higher than it had appeared from a distance. An intervening valley setting it out in sharper relief from the general surface.
I mean, it's usually going to be bigger than you'd think.
Too weary to ascend, I slept in the shadow of the hill.
Fair enough.
I know not why my dreams were so wild that night, but ere the waning and fantastically gibbous moon had risen far above the eastern plain, I was awake in a cold perspiration, determined to sleep no more. Such visions as I had experienced were too much for me to endure again, and in the glow of the moon I saw how unwise I had been to travel by day. Without the glare of the parching sun, my journey would have cost me less energy. Indeed, I now felt quite able to perform the ascent which had deterred me at sunset. Picking up my pack, I started for the crest of the eminence.
Let's see, is there a cigarette? Hello there. The loner. Contrary to popular opinion, Lovecraft was not an ever-frowning, eccentric, grumpy loner. He considered himself to be a person who appreciated humor. Moreover, he would often meet with his friends in his apartment or at various cafes in Brooklyn and Manhattan. At times, his social life was so intensive, his work would suffer for months. There was a point when he finally decided he needed to put an end to daily meetings and loitering in New York cafeterias and resorted to hiding at home and reading with the main room light turned off, pretending he wasn't there whenever a friend knocked on his door. He also had another method of deterring his guests, which involved greeting them in a bathrobe, with an unmade bed visible in the background and piles of paper scattered across the floor. This guy is the introvert at his finest. He is committed to stay away from people. He is the pinnacle of introversy. Is that a word? Introversy? He's the pinnacle of introverts.
I have said that the unbroken monotony of the rolling plain was a source of vague horror to me. But I think my horror was greater when I gained the summit of the mound and looked down the other side into an immeasurable pit or canyon, whose black recesses the moon had not yet soared high enough to illumine. I felt myself on the edge of the world, peering over the rim into a fathomless chaos of eternal night. Through my terror ran curious reminiscences of Paradise Lost, and of Satan's hideous climb through the unfashioned realms of darkness.
I'm getting really into this.
As the moon climbed higher in the sky, I began to see that the slopes of the valley were not quite so perpendicular as I had imagined.
Is there another one? At all? No? Okay.
Ledges and outcroppings of rock afforded fairly easy footholds for a descent, whilst after a drop of only a few hundred feet, the declivity became very gradual.
Okay. Continue. I want to make sure I don't skip any secrets.
Urged on by an impulse which I cannot definitely analyze, I scrambled with difficulty down the rocks and stood on the gentler slope beneath, gazing into the Stygian deeps where no light had yet penetrated.
That.
All at once, my attention was captured by a vast and singular object on the opposite slope, which rose steeply about 100 yards ahead of me. An object that gleamed whitely in the newly bestowed rays of the ascending moon.
Anything? Maybe on this? No? Okay.
That it was merely a gigantic piece of stone, I soon assured myself. But I was conscious of a distinct impression that its contour and position were not altogether the work of nature. A closer scrutiny filled me with sensations I cannot express.
Interesting. Up.
For despite its enormous magnitude, and its position in an abyss which had yawned at the bottom of the sea since the world was young, I perceived beyond a doubt that the strange object was a well-shaped monolith, whose massive bulk had known the workmanship and perhaps the worship of living and thinking creatures. Dazed and frightened, yet not without a certain thrill of the scientist's or archaeologist's delight, I examined my surroundings more closely.
Still nothing? Okay. Oh!
Now near the zenith, shone weirdly and vividly above the towering steeps that hemmed in the chasm, and revealed the fact that a far-flung body of water flowed at the bottom, winding out of sight in both directions, and almost lapping my feet as I stood on the slope. Across the chasm, the wavelets washed the base of the Cyclopean monolith, on whose surface I could now trace both inscriptions and crude sculptures.
Huh. Maybe in the water. Maybe on that monolith. Nope. Alright.
The writing was in a system of hieroglyphics unknown to me, and unlike anything I'd ever seen in books, consisting for the most part of conventionalized aquatic symbols such as fishes, eels, octopi, crustaceans, mollusks, whales, and the like. Several characters obviously represented marine things which are unknown to the modern world, but whose decomposing forms I had observed on the ocean-risen plain. It was the pictorial carving, however, that did most to hold me spellbound.
Storytelling methods. Dagon contained many themes and storytelling methods that Lovecraft developed in his later works, such as telling the story through carvings, the Mountains of Madness, the Nameless City, journals and characters' notes, the Shadow Out of Time, the Haunter of the Dark, islands emerging from the ocean, the Call of Cthulhu, or fictitious beings and deities based on real events and mythologies, Migo and the Whisperer of Darkness. It's also considered the origin of the popular Cthulhu mythos. Some of Lovecraft's other stories also conclude in a manner. Yeah, I keep yawning. I got up way too early this morning. Some of Lovecraft's other stories also conclude in a manner similar to Dagon, but let's skip the details in order not to spoil the ending.
Plainly visible across the intervening water, on account of their enormous size, were an array of bas-reliefs whose subjects would have excited the envy of a Doré. I think that these things were supposed to depict men, at least a certain sort of men. though the creatures were shown disporting like fishes in the waters of some marine grotto, or paying homage at some monolithic shrine which appeared to be under the waves as well. Of their faces and forms
I accidentally double-clicked. Of their faces and forms, I dare not speak in
for
detail.
the mere remembrance makes me grow faint. Grotesque beyond the imagination of a Poe or a Bulwer. They were damnably human in general outline, despite webbed hands and feet, shockingly wide and flabby lips, glassy, bulging eyes, and other features less pleasant to recall.
Ugh.
Curiously enough, they seem to have been chiseled badly out of proportion with their scenic background. For one of the creatures was shown in the act of killing a whale, represented as but little larger than himself. I remarked, as I say, their grotesqueness and strange size, but in a moment decided that they were merely the imaginary gods of some primitive fishing or seafaring tribe. Some tribe whose last descendant had perished eras before the first ancestor of the Piltdown or Neanderthal man was born.
So before the first Neanderthal? Interesting.
Awestruck at this unexpected glimpse into a past beyond the conception of the most daring anthropologist, I stood musing whilst the moon cast queer reflections on the silent channel before me. Then, suddenly, I saw it.
Saw what? Saw what? Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait. What did you see? Okay. Hold on. Let me... Oh. What?
With only a slight churning to mark its rise to the surface, the thing slid into view above the dark waters.
Fucking shit.
Loathsome, it darted like a stupendous monster of nightmares to the monolith, about which it flung its gigantic scaly arms, the while it bowed its hideous head and gave vent to certain measured sounds.
Hi. Hey, what's up? Yo, don't mind me. Don't mind me. I crashed. I shipwrecked and I found this place. And if you don't want me here, I'll go. I'll just walk mosey on out. You know, I don't have any problem with that. If this is your sacred land, I apologize for intruding, and I think I'll just take my leave. I think I'll just take my leave. Yeah. Let's fade out.
I went mad then.
I would too.
Of my frantic ascent of the sloping cliff and of my delirious journey back to the stranded boat, I remember little.
Oh, why is it distorted? Oh, Lord. That went mad at this rate. Did I skip a secret back there? Oh, please don't tell me I skipped a secret. Oh my god.
I believe I sang a great deal and laughed oddly when I was unable to sing.
Anything? Okay, now it's getting really creepy. Okay, phone. No, you're gonna ruin it.
I have indistinct recollections of a great storm sometime after I reached the boat. At any rate, I know that I heard pearls of thunder and other tones which nature utters only in her wildest moods.
Oh, fade out. Cool.
When I came out of the shadows, I was in a San Francisco hospital. Brought thither by the captain of the American ship which had picked up my boat in mid-ocean. In my delirium, I had said much, but found that my words had been given scant attention. Of any land upheaval in the Pacific, my rescuers knew nothing. nor did I deem it necessary to insist upon a thing which I knew they could not believe.
That's fair. Oh. The journalist. Lovecraft was a prominent figure in the world of amateur journalism. In 1915, he started publishing his own journal called The Conservative, which included political and social commentary, poetry, short stories, and literary criticism written by him and other authors. Howard was a skilled wordsmith, but he also took criticisms to heart, which resulted in his decision to step away from writing poetry and concentrate on weird fiction again for the first time since his teenage years. Dagon, published in 1919, is one of the short stories written during that period. An excerpt from The Conservative, the master of horror fiction, explains his attitude towards warfare and the idea of world peace. Why any sane human being can believe in the possibility of universal peace is more than a conservative can fathom. Should the entire civilized world agree simultaneously to disarm one or more nations, would undoubtedly retain secret armaments and at the proper time take advantage of their more altruistic and less astute contemporaries in a wild career of conquest against unarmed victims. No country is or ever can be above warfare until the basic impulses of human animal shall have miraculously changed. Interesting. Oh! In defense of Dagon. In 1921, Lovecraft released a series of 3 essays, The Defense Reopens, The Defense Remains Open, and The Final Words, later published as a collection titled In Defense of Dagon, in which he rebuked a series of criticisms directed at his works. Some notable quotes. I paint what I dream, and will let the public settle the rest amongst themselves. Mr. Monday asks the raison-d'etre of Dagon. I will give it purely and simply a reproduce of mood. Its object is the simplest in all art portrayal. The physical horrors of war, no matter how extreme and unprecedented, hardly have a bearing on the entirely different realm of supernatural terror. Ghosts are still ghosts. The mind can get Ghosts are still ghosts. The mind can get more thrills from unrealities than from realities. In the essays, Lovecraft touches upon the topics of atheism, materialism, the quest for truth, and the love of science. Interesting. Is there any more? Oh! Oh ho ho! Hiding, are you? The atheist. Lovecraft considers himself an atheist and an absolute materialist, which he attributed partly to his early childhood interest in astronomy and science in general. In his own words, I am indeed an absolute materialist so far as the actual belief goes, with not a shred of credence in any form of supernaturalism, religion, spiritualism, transcendentalism, metempsychosis, or immortality. All I say is that I think it is damned unlikely that anything like a central cosmic will, a spirit world, or an eternal survival of personality exists. They are the most preposterous and unjustified of all the guesses which can be made about the universe, and I am not enough of a hair-splitter to pretend that I don't regard them as errant and negligible moonshine. In theory, I am an agnostic, but pending the appearance of radical evidence, I must be classified practically and provisionally as an atheist. Sources against... More hiding in the chateaus. No more hiding in chateau. No, okay.
Once I sought out a celebrated ethnologist and amused him with peculiar questions regarding the ancient Philistine legend of Dagon, the fish god.
Interesting. Dagon. Was it? Oh, it's Dagon? Hold on, I'm about to sneeze. Ooh, bless me. Was the main deity of the Philistines, worshipped throughout the Middle East as the ancient god of fertility and crops. In Hebrew, the word Dagon was a common noun for grain. The rulers of Akkad, Mesopotamia, chose him as the patron saint of their war conquest. He also appeared as the judge of the dead in an Assyrian poem and an underworld prison order in one of the Babylonian texts. He is often mistakenly taken for a fish god due to the wrong interpretation of his name, as in Hebrew, the word dag means fish. In H.P. Lovecraft's work, Dagon is an underwater deity ruling over the deep ones. An humanoid race with fish traits that reside in the oceans, he is worshipped by a secret cult called the Esoteric Order of Dagon. Interesting. Anything else? Nope. The chest. Books. Oh. Very well. Continue we will.
But soon perceiving that he was hopelessly conventional, I did not press my inquiries.
Augustus Derleth and the Cthulhu Mythos. August Derleth was an American writer and anthologist. He also befriended Lovecraft and published many of his works through his company Arkham House. Although he greatly contributed to the popularism of Arthur's works after his death, he is surrounded by numerous controversies. One of his most questionable decisions involved introducing the good versus evil God doctrine. Derleth was a devout Catholic to the Cthulhu Mythos, which contrasted with Lovecraft's view of the world and his approach to cosmic horror. As a result, the author's works were often misunderstood and misrepresented in today's culture. It is also worth noting that Lovecraft was never really interested in creating mythology, and the term Cthulhu Mythos was coined by Derleth after the author left the mortal plane. Interesting. There's gotta be one more secret, right? Somewhere around here. Something major. Something important. God, the controls are kind of weird. It's weird. Oh well. Maybe we'll find it over here. Oh. Okay, we didn't just come over here for... Oh, right there. The scientist. These days, the word scientist is a widely accepted term, but at the time Dagon was published, it was subject to a wide debate. After the author used it in the story, critics pointed out that the man of science was a more appropriate term to employ. He admitted that in the events of Dagon, that if Dagon were to be reprinted, he would indeed use the phrase they suggested. Scientist was coined as an analog to artist to be used when referring to those studying in different branches of science. Yet in the 19th and earliest 20th century, scientific researchers in Great Britain and the United States were of the opinion that man of science, resembling the term man of letters, was the only proper choice. Among other things, it was gender specific, indicating that science was an endeavor to be pursued by only one sex. The term scientist became more accepted only after World War II, and man of science started fading into obscurity as an old-fashioned synonym. Interesting.
It is at night, especially when the moon is gibbous and waning, that I see the thing.
Ooh. Hold on, we're gonna see it again?
I tried morphine, but the drug has given only transient surcease, and has drawn me into its clutches as a hopeless slave. So now, I am to end it all, having written a full account for the information or the contemptuous amusement of my fellow men.
Oh, right here. Elder sign. At another house where people were stirring, he asked questions about the god and whether they danced often upon Lyrian. But the farmer and his wife would only make the elder sign and tell him the way to near an altar. The dream quest of unknown Kadith H.P. Lovecraft, elder sign is a protective symbol that can be found in various works of pop culture, usually represented by a 5-pointed star with an eye flame symbol on its center. For example, in games inspired by H.P. Lovecraft's writing, it is supposed to ward away all kinds of cosmic horrors. However, this is a later version of the sign created by the author's friend, writer August Derleth. In our game, we have used the original symbol, as designed by Lovecraft, in the form of a six-pointed branch, which he sometimes included in letters to his friends. Lovecraft on tobacco and alcohol. Lovecraft hated tobacco, even though he used to smoke when he was 12 in order to look and feel like an adult. In his correspondence with friend Reinhard Kleiner, he claims that he quit as soon as he started wearing long pants. He also had a very strong opinion about alcohol, as evidenced by his letter in Zelia Brown, dated 13th February 1928. As for the matter of drinking, I have never tasted intoxicating liquor and never intend to. I have a strong aesthetic disgust at anything which blunts or coarsens the delicate nature equipoise of the evolved human intellect and imagination. Fair enough. Drinking excited my personal repugnance, hence I don't drink. Let the herd do what they will. I am rather in favor of prohibition, the prohibition of any one antisocial force as of any other. This sources that. Is that all of it?
Often, I ask myself if it could not all have been a pure phantasm, a mere freak of fever, as I lay sun-stricken and raving in the open boat after my escape from the German man-of-war.
Oh my god, are we sinking?
This I ask myself, but ever does there come before me a hideously vivid vision in reply. I cannot think of the deep sea without shuddering at the nameless things that may at this very moment be crawling and floundering on its slimy bed, worshipping their ancient stone idols and carving their own detestable likenesses on submarine
that is so cool.
water-soaked granite. I dream of a day when they may rise above the billows to drag down into their reeking talons the remnants of puny, war-exhausted mankind. Of a day when the land shall sink and the dark ocean shall ascend amidst universal pandemonium.
Whoa! That's a lot of monsters there. Oh, I'm not given a lot of options here.
The end is near.
Why'd you block your door?
I hear a noise at the door, as of some immense slippery body lumbering against it.
Oh. That's why. How about we not open the door? You know, no, let's go back in time and stop him from opening the door, you know? Is there anything before I open that door?
It shall not find me. God, that hand! The window! The window!
What? Hold on, is there anything else before I do this? Like quick scan, quick scan, quick scan, quick scan, quick scan, quick scan, quick. It doesn't look like anything. Let's go! Jump out the window! Achievement unlocked from madness to oblivion. Wow. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed immersing yourself in our little pool of cosmic horror. We appreciate that if you took a moment to rate Dagon and check out our other games and DLCs. This is very interesting. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of this. I like this. They made a lot of games and DLCs of this. Oh my god, Cthulhu's Bedtime Aggressive Manuscript. Oh my god, this is gonna be so good. I think I might make a series out of this, honestly. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this like I did. Like, this is very interesting. I recommend you check this stuff out. And again, there's a VR edition. If you have VR, enjoy. It's probably a much more creepy and just amazing experience if you do this. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, which I hope you did, because this was a really, really interesting game, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit subscribe. We're almost at 200. Again, we're almost there. We're at 199. 200. We're almost there. Almost there. But yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next one. This is Shavalo, signing out.